Hi, my name is Adam Wenchel and I'm with Arthur. At Arthur, we help banks, insurance companies, and other enterprises take control of their AI operations. So we know the world is increasingly being run by AI, whether we're talking about self-driving cars, robots staffing warehouses, or in financial services, key use cases such as underwriting, credit, anti-money laundering, fraud, and a whole host of others. We know these models are really at the heart of many modern organizations and enterprises. And the challenge is when you take these models from the lab and put them in the real world, they don't always work flawlessly. So a little bit about myself. Prior to starting Arthur, I spent 3 years at Capital One, where I founded and led their AI team, scaled it up, and we delivered machine learning systems into production in a range of lines of business in very different use cases, some of them very sensitive and regulated. And so I got a firsthand education in all the ways things could go wrong, but also how to be successful in those critical environments. I'm very fortunate to be joined on this journey by some talented co-founders, and without whom none of this would be possible. And we have a great team. And so let's talk a little bit about what we do. We provide essentially a consistent view into the operations of all your models across the enterprise. And just like you would inside like other operational areas such as cybersecurity or technology operations, we make that data, we monitor it, we can alert off of it, and we make it available up to the second. So what are the key areas we look at when we monitor? Well, there's really three. The first one is performance. How well is my model making decisions? Is it accurate? Are we seeing good outcomes? Are there any strange shifts or anomalies being detected there? Explainability. Can I explain what these models, why they make certain decisions, and can I, make those explanations available to compliance people and in some cases even the consumers? And then the last piece is around unintentional bias and making sure that there's not any sort of unfairness in the models that I did not want there. So all three of these have been in the news recently, but let's take a look at some of them. So performance, there was actually an article in the Wall Street Journal this week that was talking about how COVID has really wreaked havoc on machine learning models because the patterns that it had learned on historical data no longer held forth because consumer habits around spending and healthcare and all these other areas has changed so radically. And so in the article, the chief digital and analytics officer for a major Fortune 100 health insurance company said part of the reason they've been able to successfully navigate it is due to their use of the Arthur platform that can really kind of identify the areas that are impacted and help them craft a coherent response. The second area around explainability is also one that's been written a lot about, in particular in financial services. And the real challenge there is making sure that you have these really advanced but inscrutable black box type models that as they're making decisions around people that affect their lives, that you can really kind of explain them, whether that's into your own compliance people, to your data scientists, or even out into the community. And then the third one is around unintentional bias. And so I think in financial services, has a long history of combating bias and regulation that forbids bias. And for many years, the sort of fairness through unawareness was the methodology, if you can call it that was used. But there's growing sort of sentiment that that's no longer good enough, and that you really have to actively control for it. And our platform is a key piece of that equation. A little bit about how we operate. So we've built this to be very easy to deploy. We have a central analytics platform that can run either in our environment or yours. And there's a little agents that go with each model, a little bit of Python code or whatever language you use. And so it's really easy to deploy. And it doesn't matter what stack you've built your models on, whether it's a cloud provider, open source, your own homegrown solution, something you've purchased. We're kind of agnostic to all of that. We're just a consistent monitoring layer that you can plug into any sort of modeling environment. And because several of us on the team come from an enterprise background, we've really focused on the features that make a platform like ours easy to roll out more broadly across an enterprise. So scale, whether you're doing billions of inferences a day or have thousands or tens of thousands of models. Security, good end-to-end encryption, role-based access control, single sign-on, and then as I mentioned before, ease of deployment, so that if you have a number of organizations that you need to roll this out to, it's not a chore to do that. A key point about Arthur is, while it's certainly built for data scientists and engineers, and they love working with it, and it gives them access to just a treasure trove of data, we've also built it to make this information and take this information and put it in the hands of operations teams, risk functions, business leads, and really all the key stakeholders that make up an enterprise ecosystem. I'd like to thank the FinTech Innovation Lab. This has just been a fantastic experience being part of it. Even with having to go totally virtual, it's been just a lot of fun. And I'd really like to thank all the amazing organizations that we've partnered up with. Every single one of them has been a great partner, and we've really enjoyed getting to know them and really the invaluable feedback that we've gotten from the meetings that they've arranged with their organizations and all the different groups there. So thank you very much. And if you're an organization who's starting to deploy more analytics and AI and wants to check out some guardrails that you can put in place to make sure it's successful when they're in production, and wants to work with a team that has a lot of experience doing just that, please get in touch. Thank you.